Hey, hello, good evening. This is Don Shireen. Welcome to my podcast, Dancing with Bipolar Redo. It is Wednesday night, almost 9 o'clock, and I just had a couple things I wanted to get off my chest, and hopefully, maybe something that'll help someone else. Because that's always the premise of the show is to actually help someone else. While I know deep down I'm helping myself by getting this stuff off my chest. So, all in all, it's been a pretty good week. The paper deal is actually working out really well, and now they have me writing about other things, seeing that hockey's not in season exactly right now, right? Not evil. It's in season for the Stanley Cup, but as far as people who didn't make the playoffs and stuff, it's way out of season. So there's not a real whole lot going on with LaRush right now beside appearances and, things like that, which I will be reporting on, but you know what I mean. There's not action, there's not games on a nightly basis, and there's not a whole lot to report except maybe, we're finally going to get a coach, hopefully sometime soon, and a new GM. And, I'll report on that, of course, but you know what I mean. Otherwise, it's slow, it's off season. So I'm going to be writing about food and a couple festivals coming up, and whatever I find that I think is news is going to be written about. And I guess that's how it goes, if you see it, you report it and it becomes news. It's kind of like history, right? If you report it and somebody looks back on it at some point in time, it's history. It's something that happened in the past. So I guess that's how news is made, right? You see something and you report it and all of a sudden it's news. So um, it's, it's seriously what it is. So that's a good thing. Um, I'm adjusting to apartment life. I'm not hating it. I'm not being stalked. It's an adjustment, though. Living on my own for 14 years with nobody around me. This having somebody above me and on the side of me, and it's an adjustment. I'll make it. I'll make the adjustments because I don't want to move again anytime soon or ever. But it's better than being stalked. I have to say that. So, I'll get used to it. I'll get used to the noise. I don't know if I'll get used to the feeling that somebody's going to come through my ceiling on a nightly basis, but uh, I'll adjust to it. I got film from my windows in the front of the house because this thing happened over last weekend, which is what I really want to talk about because it triggered something in me, something fierce, and it's taken me a whole week to rationalize what happened and realize that it wasn't done on purpose and that these people literally were just selfish drunk bitches who didn't know what was going on. So these drunk bitches walked by my window and decided that they were going to sit on the sidewalk in front of mine and my neighbor's apartments, and I don't know what their intention was. Party, eat, drink, just be annoying as fuck. And they did that, and they triggered me because it was such a flashback to Flagstaff that I really, really had to do everything in my power to hold it together and not go out and just smash their faces in. But they're not from Flagstaff, and they would have no idea of anything that happened in Flagstaff, and I doubt that they know the stalker, and I doubt that they know the old landlord, and I doubt they were hired by them to come and watch me and stalk me and report back to them like what's happening in Flagstaff. It was absolutely irrational what my thought process was. So I just closed my door and put my shades down and backed up into the corner here, waiting for them to break in through the door and all this irrational stuff that isn't going to happen because I'm not in Arizona anymore. And they don't know Bill, the stalker dude, and they don't know my old fucking landlord, and they're not part of the complicit plan to kill me, and I can say that now, but that day I was triggered in a huge way. My neighbor next door opened his door and they took off because they obviously thought that they were they obviously not been around here for a couple weeks, not realizing that, there's been a turnover and that some of the riffraff was evicted, and I wish I could have seen that shock, because that definitely would have made me feel a lot better about how triggered I was over what was going on out there. But they took off, and I went out after and swept up their fucking mess, because the last thing I need is mice in here. Or I don't need mice, I don't need ants, I don't need vermin, I don't need bugs. And the mess I left was definitely a call for mice. And there's mice traps all on the outside of this building, so obviously mice are an issue in South Dakota. Just ask Horseshit Resort, and they're overpriced mousy cabins, and so it's a thing out here with the mice. So, but they triggered the fuck out of me, and it took. I still honestly gonna tell you, I'm not really exactly over it yet. The film on the windows helps, so now that I don't think they can come by and peek up and through the windows to go back and report to people in Flagstaff who they don't know, right? Because irrational thoughts here. It kind of threw me into a weird manic state, because it just made me feel so unsafe, right? And I've been feeling safe enough here, and that just threw it off in a big way. I talked to my neighbor about it a little bit after the fact, and he asked me what was going on, because he didn't know what these bitches were doing out there either. And I told him what I thought was going on, and he agreed that was probably what had happened, that the people who lived in these two apartments, mine and his, were probably doing illegal things and distributing illegal things out of these apartments, and these bitches didn't know it and came here and thinking they were going to have a free ride, and not going to work that way. They're lucky I didn't. Actually, I don't know who's lucky. My first thing was to call the cops and just have them removed from the property. But, I don't know anybody here. I don't know who knows what around here. There's cartel here in Rapid City, and that's the last thing I need to do, is get myself all fucking caught up with the cartel, because I have a manic episode because some bitches are sitting in front of my door, right? So it's, it's just better just to let it just ride, not how they started knocking on my door or any shit like that. They probably would have got hit in the head with a table, and then that would have been all bad. But maybe the cartel would understand that, because, even they have, law and rules and things you're supposed to do and not do, and knocking on people's doors randomly is probably not one of the smartest things that you can do, especially people you don't know. So, needless to say, it didn't set well with me, and and I just got to deal with it. It's a huge apartment complex. There's things that go on in here that are none of my business, and as long as they don't involve me, now that in a way involved me. They're sitting in front of my door. They could look through the glass. They could do dumb shit. I mean, people break windows here and do dumb shit. Now, they were just drunk bitches, And their biggest thing was probably they wanted to get high and get laid, and neither was going to happen here. And my neighbor next door, I don't think he has much interest in that either, not especially drunk bitches. So it was just, it was a clusterfuck. And I mean, I'm still working through it. I was going to call my therapist, and I don't know how she was going to help me with that, right? What is she going to say? It's not real. I knew it wasn't real. I knew they don't know people from Flagstaff. They don't know me. I don't know them. I just know that they were uninvited. And, that's the thing, because of the whole stalking, it was uninvited. The whole thing was uninvited. And then these two bitches just show up at the door uninvited, and my head it just clicked in a really, really bad way. Rationally, I knew they were of no harm to me. I mean, they were so drunk, all I had to do, I could have done a lot of bad shit to them. But, it didn't go there, thank God. I really don't want to meet the Pennington County sheriffs. I'm not, okay, I don't want to do that. I've heard a lot about them, and people who think they're great, think they're great, and people who are on the wrong side of the law don't like them so much, and I'd prefer to just not have an opinion one way or the other about them. I think that's the best way to let that shit roll right now. Not that I'm doing anything wrong, because I'm not. I have no desire to do anything wrong here. Would I like to get stoned again? Probably, but am I going to go seeking it? Absolutely fucking not. Looking to getting a green card, it's a possibility, but then again, what kind of slippery slope am I going to wind up going down with that shit? It's a crutch, and we all know that, and it's only like times like that when I get absolutely triggered that I'm like, oh, I need that. I don't need that. What would that do to my writing career that's finally getting going right now, right? What would that do to my motivation to even want to try to do anything better or be better? And, and what am I going to do? Like during this season, I'm going to start going to games high and then reporting and like, fuck no, I can't go down that road. And we all know that once I start something, I don't stop, right? It's this addictive personality thing I got going on here. So it's just all no. It's a bad no. Anyway, so I don't know what like the lesson is on that. Like try to stay in a reality. Even if you're triggered so hard that, like it was like a flashback. It was a quick flashback to, Flagstaff and that fucking asshole trying to come through the window and all the shit that went down there that I'm finally starting to process now because I'm not in it anymore, right? So I can look at it from a different perspective and actually realize how fucked up that whole situation was and how many people failed me and how much money I could make if I was litigious and wanted to sue Catholic Charities and sue the Flagstaff Police Department and sue my old landlord and sue the VA for literally housing me in a place with a convicted fucking sexual predator. I mean, I still have time. Statute of limitations on sexual shit don't end, and I don't know. My mind is replaying it over and over, a lot of the stuff now, because it's safe enough, I guess, for me to do so. And I don't know. I don't know how badly I want money. Like, I've never done that. I've never been one to live for money. I'd rather just make a point and have them all, like, literally have to admit to the fact that they didn't do a damn thing for me and that my chances of dying had I not left Arizona were, like, 100%. I'd like somebody to take accountability for what happened. But, do I need it? No. Am I in extreme danger out here? No. Only unless I do something stupid, And it just kind of like seems like it's better just to let sleeping dogs lie as far as that goes. I don't want these people in Flagstaff to know where I'm living now. I don't want them to have an address. They still have my phone number. I'm blocking numbers from Arizona on a daily basis. More than likely scam calls, but still, until I change my number to a South Dakota number, that's probably going to continue to happen. And I've been dragging my feet on changing my number because I don't know why. Actually, there's a lot of shit tied to my phone number that hasn't been resolved yet. So I don't know. That's a thing that I'm just going to do one day, spur of the moment. I'm going to change my phone number and then I'm going to get locked out of all my accounts because I'm not going to be able to verify anything and all that horse shit, like what happened when I lost my last email. And although this would be different because it would just be a phone number and I could still be verified in other ways. But I don't know why I'm dragging my feet on it. Maybe I'll change it. Maybe I'll change it tonight so I don't have that anymore. But other than that, things are good. I'm eating well. I'm getting all my steps in. I'm starting to really tone up and look good and feel better. And the move has been a good move, ultimately. I just, I should have expected that there would be things that would come up that would absolutely trigger me back to that. And I think I handled it well, I didn't do anything stupid. I didn't make a scene. I didn't do a lot of things that, had I been less, reserved, maybe less stable, that probably could have gone all sideways. I did, however, go back in and change my review for the Roadway Inn, because north side of Rapid City is a dangerous fucking place, and my review could have left visitors to Rapid in a dangerous spot, thinking that it was an okay hotel to be at, and it's really not. And it's the trappiest trap house in all of Rapid City, even though I've heard that the Stardust is worse, and I guess Motel 6 or something is really, really bad. And I'm not eager to find out, but all I know is that my stay at the Roadway, I wasn't leaving my room after 6 o'clock at night, and um, I heard stuff and saw stuff and smelled stuff that, you know, it's not my first rodeo. I'm not innocent, you know. I mean, I'm a good girl now, but I'm not innocent by any means. I know some shit, right? And keeping my mouth shut while I was there was also one of the better things that I could have done. But I mean, I didn't like call it a trap house in the review, but I definitely let people know that if they can find someplace else to stay, that they probably should. And you know, after one of the members of the staff, I legitimately feel like she just let me down by not following through on something she said she was going to do. You know, I had to drop the rating because she is part of the hotel and she basically lied to me. So, you know, the hotel takes a hit on that because she's one of their employees. But needless to say, the location alone is a big no. And if you're coming to Rapid City, do not stay at the Roadway on La Crosse. Just don't. Get a tent, stay at the fucking KOA before you do that. Don't stay there. But I had weird dreams after that. Like, I don't know if like the guilt got to me, or I don't know why I would feel guilty about changing a review. But I had weird dreams about riding a bus and not knowing where I lived, and which is kind of true because I had my address wrong on everything out here, and had to go retrieve Amazon packages from across town because there is actually an East Mead Street, and yeah, I had all my packages delivered there. So learning curve here has been a little rough, but you know, it's funny because everything worked out okay. I went and saw my tattoo guy today to talk about my first tattoo here, and very cool dude, very late for the appointment, reminded me so much of Brandon from Woody's, you know, old school tattoo back in Flag, that it was just like, okay, you're going to be a great tattoo artist. This is going to work out just fine because I know how this goes. So I have my appointment on the 6th of July, and I'm getting a magpie with a compass. And I know it sounds weird, but it is weird, but it suits where I'm at right now and what I'm all about and what's going on. So I'm excited for that. And had I not spent all my money on other miscellaneous bullshit this month that I really probably didn't need, I could have got it done earlier, but July 6th is literally right around the corner, and it will give me time to drink more water and get my skin ready and all that good stuff you're supposed to do before you get a tattoo. So, you know, I'll be responsible as far as it goes with that. Other than that, not a whole hell of a lot going on, but I just really kind of want to relate that to y'all, that even though I might be presenting that I'm doing well, and I mean, I basically am, there's still stuff that creeps up on me and really just sets me back on my heels, and I have to be very mindful and logical and realize that just because something did happen to me doesn't mean it's going to keep on happening to me. That I moved 770 miles away from Flagstaff in order for that not to happen anymore, and you know, not being an asshole to my neighbors and not turning people in and not doing stupid fucking shit like that is only going to ensure the fact that nothing happens to me here. And I have no desire to do that, you know? I mean, why? If nobody's bothering me, then why the fuck should I bother other people, right? I mean, and whoever the elephant is upstairs, I don't know what the problem is. Maybe they have epilepsy. I don't know what the deal is, but, you know, unless they come crashing through my ceiling or they crack the ceiling, then I have to do something. But other than that, allergy pills put me to sleep, and during the day it's quiet for the most part, so it's dealable. And like I said, with time, it will just become routine. It won't be, you know, living solo for that long in the trailer, out in the field and everything really kind of it spoiled me in a way, but it also ruined me in a way, because like socialization, I'm not really good at this right now. Learning, but it's a learning curve. But other than that, it's all good. I really honestly can't complain. And I'm not really complaining. I'm just trying to relate to you guys that, we can look good on the outside and we can present really well, but you have to be honest to somebody about what's really going on, and y'all are my somebody. So thank you for letting me trauma dump all over you guys. Anyway, I don't think there's a whole lot more to say, and besides, I love y'all, and I think that's it. So this is Dawn Shreen. This is my podcast, Gentle Bipolar Redo, and hey, let's all stay alive, okay? Later.